Says you're given angle 1 is 4/3 x plus 2, and angle 2 is 2 times the quantity x minus 2. Angle 1 and angle 2 are vertical angles. That's key. That's key. Did you wake up this morning and say vertical angles are congruent?
I did not say that in Christmas.
Okay, that's good.
I wish I did.
Yeah, but vertical angles are congruent, which means that angle 1 and angle 2 are the same. So you set them equal to each other.
Set them equal.
Yeah, when they're congruent, you set them equal. We should solve this. There could be some questions about that. Normally I would tell you to get rid of the fraction, but because there's a 2 and a parenthesis here, I would actually tell you to distribute first to avoid anything odd happening here, and then we will get rid of that fraction. This is something from last year. What do you multiply everything by to get rid of that fraction?
3.
3, yeah. But you got to multiply everything by 3. And if you do that in the previous step, you could possibly not multiply or multiply too many things or not enough. So this is a better way. This is 4x plus 6
and
equals
6x
minus 12. And why don't you solve it from there and tell me what you come up with.
X equals -9.
Yeah. I get positive.
I did just do that super quickly mentally, right? On you.
Okay.
I'll look
Yeah.
at it. -2x. Yeah, +9.
If you're still getting settled, I mean, please take the time to grab your notebook and pencil and all that.
Oh no, it's fine. I got it
Okay.
all.
Okay. So
Went for it.
excellent. Okay. So we got x is 9. That's great. Now, that's not the answer though. The answer says to determine the measures of the angles. So you do have to put that number back in to one or both. They are congruent. I mean, you can put them in both, but they are congruent. So you don't need to do both. I would do the easier one, 2 times 9 minus 2.
2 times 9 minus 2. And then that's the wait, so with there's like a similar formula to that, right? Where it's kind of like with the -2. Okay, wait, never mind. Sorry, I was thinking
I'm not following, but
yeah, never mind. Just ignore that.
okay.
Yeah, so I'm inserting x. Am I doing that for both problems? Or like
They're congruent, so you don't have to. But a lot of students do. They go, oh, let me do 4/3 times 9 plus 2, and they get 14. They're like, I shouldn't have done that. I already knew that they're congruent.
Okay. All right, yeah, that makes sense. Just insert it right back into the problem to prove it.
All right, so that's A. Let's go to B. These are all about knowing. We wrote all those definitions at the end yesterday. These are all about using those definitions. And being like, okay, like I know what that means. I know when I see the word, get this snipped in. When I see linear pair, I know what that means. What does linear pair mean? Do you remember from yesterday?
Linear pairs when they are making 180 degrees together.
They add up to 180. So you're going to put the two angle measures equations together, and they add up to 180. 180. So go ahead and solve that for x for us, please.
All right. Here, let me just start writing that down. Six. Wait, sorry, ignore that. Okay, I guess I just got to divide that part. Um, okay, I somehow 20, is it x equals like 28.5?
No, let's look. You're close. I mean, you're close, but that doesn't help here. Did you distribute the 4 to both?
That is what I did not do.
Okay.
And that would make it become 6x equals 180 minus 12, and then 168. Yeah, 28.
Yes.
I'm impressed that you knew what part I messed up on just from that.
Well, it's kind of predictable, not for you, but just that there's only so many places that most students tend to mess up. If you ever take an engineering class, you'll learn about Pareto charting, faults and things like that. And it's kind of
Mhm.
interesting. Meaning like you kind of know where the mistakes kind of are.
That's cool.
So, um, okay. So again, that's not the answer though, because you are not asked for X. You are asked for the measures of angles 3 and 4. This time though, you have to find each of them separately because they add up to 180. You don't know what they are though. So you have to put X in
To
both
both
of
of
these.
them. And then we have to, the answer we get with that, both of them will add up to 180.
We already know that it will, but what you have to you have to say your final answer is measure of angle 3 equals box, measure of angle 4 equals box. You have to be able to give me those final answers. So I'm asking you to put 28 back in for X
All
and then
right.
for X in both of those.
Yeah, I got 64 for the first one and 116 for the second one, which will add up to 180.
Yeah, so that's kind of your check that they work. Okay, let's go to the next one. Next one. Letter C. Complementary angles. Complementary angles. What does complementary mean?
Um, Complementary means that they um are they're kind of they're similar to each other. They're
They add up to
360,
90.
90.
So let's go through the other cases, supplementary angles. They add up to 180. You got to know both of those. Complementary is 90, supplementary is 180. Same with the linear pair is 180.
Supplementary 180. Okay. So we'd have to know that with these two problems, they're gonna add up to 90.
That's right.
And then,
So take another shot at working this one out,
all
distributing
right.
that 4 to both terms.
X is 13.
Okay.
And then I guess I'd have to plug it into those. And then that would
Yeah.
be
And again, they're supposed to add up to 90. So that's kind of your built-in check for
Mhm.
those. So go ahead and work that out if you can.
54. 34 and wait, no, I
Yep.
did that
No, that's
wrong.
right. That's right. That's good.
54 and
Yeah.
then
No,
um
it was 34.
34. Okay, yeah. So
Because there's
34 and then the second one I messed the math up on. I'm
well,
just
what
gonna
did you for the second one?
I somehow got 54, which isn't right. It's 56.
It is 56. I agree. Okay. D is probably the most difficult one. I mean, again, like you're supposed to write measure of angle 5 is whatever you said, 34. Measure of angle 6 is 56.
Mhm.
Things like that. Okay. Excuse me. All right. So here we go. Given angle 8 equals negative x minus 40, angle 9, 3x plus 4. Angle 7 is bisected. So they're
Mhm.
saying like,
It's
hey, you cut it in half. That's angle 7, you cut it in half. That's 8 and that's 9. Bisected means they are
congruent.
congruent. Congruent means they are equal.
So
It's a
I guess
complicated way of saying these are congruent.
yeah. So what would the number be for this one, I guess?
Congruent means equal.
So would I be doing 180?
What did we do in letter A?
Um,
We said they're congruent.
they're congruent. And then so we just put them together. Oh, because they are the same thing. We're just putting them
Yes.
together. They're not
Yes.
right.
Yes.
Yeah, they're not adding up to
That's why
become something.
that's why it's so important to wake up and say vertical angles are congruent. And then now that they are the same. They're
Yeah.
exactly the same. So these are the same. So you got minus parentheses x minus 40 equals 3x plus 4. I'd like you to solve that for x, please.
X plus 40 equals 3x plus 4. X equals 9.
Okay. So we need to put that back in to
Start
both.
that, and then that would be 27 plus 4, 31. And then I guess I can do it on the other one if I really want to as well, which would also be positive. Wait. 9 minus 40, negative 31. Yeah, positive 31 as well. So
Good.
then both of them are congruent.
Yep. That's what we want.
Yeah. All right.
I was just working with another geometry student and they're the challenge sometimes is to draw it.
Yeah.
If you're not sure that your drawing is correct, go to your instructor and ask. Now they may not tell you, but it's so much better to have the right drawing than to
Yeah.
not. And so that maybe they'll give you a hint, or maybe you just read their body language, and I don't know. You just
You miss
it's really
100% of the shots you don't take.
yes, exactly. Zig Ziglar said that, or maybe someone else took that from Zig Ziglar, or he took it from someone. All right. So should we go to 7 with triangle having vertices and determining median and altitude and perpendicular? These are kind of long, but they're all doable.
Yeah, I do actually have one thing I want to go over.
Of
It's like
course. Yeah.
way at the beginning of the year. I'm just opening up that email I sent you because it has a picture of it. But it has it's like a T chart with like a pretty easy algebra formula, and then on the right side you're writing your problems.
Yeah.
Where it's
Solve for x in the following
solve,
equation by creating a t-chart proof.
yeah, and it's like 1/4 x plus 1 minus 2x.
Oh, the one I see is 2/5 x plus 7. Is there a second one on there somewhere?
I think it's just another page that has it, but either one is fine. It looks just like that. Like for the justifications, I just don't remember all of the kind of names for it in a sense. Like just going over that like once or twice would be great, and then
Yeah,
just
let's.
moving into the other one you were talking about would be perfect.
Yeah, can we start with this other one since I already got it up?
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Okay, so the one of the things that you're going to have over here to the left is like side work, because you're only supposed to put in the proof like the net result. And what I mean by that is you're gonna multiply both sides of this equation by 5
Hmm.
because you want to get rid of the fraction. And the first thing here is that this is given. Let me start with that. Given. Okay. So you're going to multiply both sides by 5, and that gives you 2x plus 35 equals 5x minus 10. That is
Hmm.
what goes in your next statement. Your next statement is the result of doing that work.
Yeah.
Now, what did I do? What is the math? What is the math step that I did up here? What did I say kind of in words?
Multiplication.
Yeah, so it's the multiplication property of equality.
Okay. If for most of these, am I just writing what I did and then just property of equality?
Yes, but again, like you're not writing, you don't show in the next step, you don't show like minus 2x minus 2x. You show
Hmm.
the result of that after you do it. So I would actually add 10 and add 10. Like I would do both things. So it's 45 equals 3x.
Hmm.
So 45 equals 3x, and it's the addition property.
And
Well,
then
well, actually, no, I take that back. You can't do them both because they're
one's
not
addition,
both.
one subtraction.
Yeah, so I can't do that. Although
Okay, yeah,
or
that's
they
what
could
confused
argue.
me too
Yeah,
earlier was I was trying to write out like all of the steps where it's like I've subtracted this and subtracted this and added that, like,
yes, 3x minus 10. So this one is the subtraction property of equality.
and then this one would be addition,
Yeah.
and then that would be 45 equals 3x. And then I guess would you okay, so would you say it's division or would it
Yes.
be
It's division. It's division. Now
okay.
you could argue it's multiplication, but it's multiplication by one third.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't get into that. I would just try to do it what they expect.
And is there one where it's so it's addition, multiplication, subtraction.
So there
Um,
there could be one more here, which is when you switch the the order.
uh-huh.
Um, and that's reflexive.
I think that's what I was thinking of. There's is there another name for another for just kind of like solving the problem out?
No, distributive. Maybe distributive might be come up.
I think that's what I was thinking of. Yeah, distributive. When would you use like distributive, like in a problem like that?
You wouldn't use it in this one. You would use it in a problem where the given was like, we already did this once, minus
Oh,
x minus 39 equals 4 times x plus 1, where
hmm.
you distribute that in.
Where you distribute the negative or addition
Yeah,
or number in. Okay. All right,
distributive
thank you.
property of equality. Now my recommendation, we don't have to do the next one, but let me just snip it in and make a few comments. I would solve it first correctly,
Hmm.
meaning like
Just
actually
do
get
it
the
on
right
the
answer.
yeah.
And that means maybe doing it off to the side or something, but the do not you will if you go back and forth, you may find you're confused. You may find it's easier just to solve it and then be like, all right, now I kind of got it. That's my rough draft over here, and then I drop it in.
Yeah. The
So this one actually is maybe one other step. It's got a combined like term step here. I don't know.
mhm.
Simplify. Maybe you guys are saying simplify. Sorry, go
Yeah.
ahead.
Um, yeah, all right, yeah. All the ones that we went on the last problem was perfect for that. But
Okay.
and that's different numbers, right? Like I'm not crazy.
What do you mean?
Like the 1/4 x compared to the last one that we just did.
What are you asking? I'm sorry, Zach. I'm not following.
Could you scroll up to the problem right above this? Just okay. All right. Just wanted to double check that it wasn't like the same. I was like, wait a second. All right. Sorry about that. Oh, we can go back down to the bottom.
Okay.
Okay, so I guess I'll just do that. Do you want me to do that problem or do you just want to move on to the next?
I think you've got it here, kind of.
Yeah. It's just kind of checking what the names are essentially.
I don't like these steps.
Yeah, that was I always take my pictures for this stuff like right when I get the papers in class before I like mess with
Okay,
it too much.
okay, yeah. As long as you're not gonna do those, I would multiply everything by 4 first.
Yeah, and
Always get rid of fractions.
that would be multiplication of
Yeah,
multiplication property.
yes,
And then you could say for this one that they are, I guess you just could say you're adding addition, just get the 3 over.
yes. Whatever you want to do from here.
Actually, no. I'd want to do,
I mean, I would add 8x to both
yeah, that's what I
sides.
was gonna say. Add
Again,
8x.
but you don't want to show this here. Like you show the net
Yeah, do
result.
that on the side. And then you'd get, yeah, x minus that. And then I'd just say subtraction, just get the 4 over.
Yes,
And then that would be x equals -7. And then I
yes.
guess, do you have to write anything for your final answer there? Just like,
Whatever you did to get to it. Like here, it's the subtraction property of equality.
okay.
You have to think of it in terms of like what you did to get there.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you. Yeah, that's perfect explanation for all that. Yeah, I kind of missed that unit. It was pretty easy.
Great. Okay, we got some time left. What else? What should we move to next?
Um, you were saying something about triangles, right?
Yeah, the next kind of grouping of questions there was about a median, altitude, and perpendicular. They are long. There's also some questions about linear patterns, writing
Mhm.
functions, things like that. But this
Uh,
is
I guess I actually, yeah, I do want to go over this.
okay. Let me do
Um,
this differently then because we're not gonna have enough room. These are long,
yeah.
potentially long problems here. All right, so let me get the graph first. So you probably will get like one of the three to do, would be a guess, because that way they sort of tease you and say, well, you know, but the CD is the median. Actually, let me label the points here. I didn't get that in. A, B, and C. CD, the median from C to AB. So there's a place that's right in the middle. It kind of looks like that. That's the equation. That's what we're looking for. This one right here. We want the equation of a line.
Hmm.
So what do we need for a line? What do we generally need for a line?
Where you start it, I
Okay.
guess.
Okay, so we need a point generally.
Hmm.
What else could we use? Do we need?
You need a,
Rhymes with
I
slope.
think you need a, is a line where it goes on forever?
Yes, but they're not. I mean, that's not really what I'm asking you is more just about an algebra concept. You
Yeah,
need a point
a
and a slope.
slope.
Okay. So the point you get first. The point is the midpoint between A and B. So do you remember how to find the midpoint between those?
You have to do y2 minus 1 over
That's the slope.
that's a slope.
So the midpoint is adding up the x's, adding up the y's, and dividing by 2, getting the average of them.
Is that y minus y1 equals m parentheses x minus x1?
We're gonna get to that. I'm just trying to get you to work through the midpoint
Mm-hmm.
formula.
Okay. x1 plus x2 over 2, y1 plus y2 over 2. Okay, so I guess you just have to start writing that out. So minus 5 plus 3 over 2, 2 plus 4 over 2, and that would be minus 1 and 3. So yeah.
And that's consistent with your graph here. Okay, so that's good. So you've got a point. Now you need the slope of this line right here, this one that I've drawn from -1, 3 to C. That's where
So
you need the slope
that's
formula.
1 -4 and -1, 3. And then that's what I do, y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1.
Yes. You could
Um,
also just count squares, count from the graph. You can use the formula,
yeah,
whatever you want here, but you got to get it right. That's more important.
x1, y, x2, y2. Okay, so I got -7/2, and
I
then
agree. Okay, so now we go to that. There's several different equations of a line, but the one you want in this problem is the point slope one, like
mhm.
this.
That's to figure out the slope of the line, you said?
You have the slope. You have the slope
Um,
and you have the point. The point is -1, 3, and you have your slope.
mhm. So would I be treating so m is slope, so then that would be y minus 3 equals -7/2 x minus
A -1.
1. Yeah, plus 1. And
Yes.
then you just, I guess, right, y minus 3 equals minus
That's
7.
it. You just stop. You stop right there. You
Oh,
have it.
stop right there. Oh, I kind of remember this. It's like a 3-step kind
Yes.
of problem to get the final answer.
Yes. So
So
they're all,
then,
so that's it. That's for part A. I mean, there's a lot there. That's part A. Let's do part B, unless there's any questions on that.
um, yeah, I guess my only question is how do you start part B?
You start it by drawing the thing that you're asked for on the triangle. So you don't accidentally do the wrong one.
Mhm.
So let
So
me,
then,
so
um,
altitude from A to BC. So this time an altitude has to meet at 90 degrees. So I'm not gonna be able to do this perfectly, but it means that that's 90 degrees right there. That's an altitude.
mhm.
So that's important.
AE is the altitude from A to BC. And then am I saying that the E is that point where the negative 90 degree is?
Yes. Sorry. Yeah, I should have labeled it. 3,
All
4,
good. And then
-5, 2, and then 1, -4.
do we know the point of E like
Nope.
it's like
Nope.
right in
Nope. This is really hard to do. This one.
that.
So here's
Uh,
what we do. But you don't actually need E. You just need you need the slope of that line. You need the slope from A to E. But to get that slope, you start with the slope from B to C.
mhm.
So we first need to find the slope from B to C.
From B to C.
Because there's a relationship between perpendicular lines, but
All right, I guess it's going 9 for the rise, and then
it's going down though,
wait,
because
sorry, yeah, wait, sorry, I looked at that wrong. So
it's
it's
okay.
going,
It's okay. Yeah. I mean, you got to look left to right.
yeah. Okay, it's
It's B
moving.
to C.
So it's moving down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, 6. 6.
Sorry, down 6. Yeah, I have the wrong number here.
All good. Yeah, it's moving down 6, and then it's moving to the right by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Okay, so your slope is -1.
And then
So you want now the perpendicular slope to that.
perpendicular slope. Is that I'll be honest with you, I don't think I remember what the perpendicular slope is off
So
the top of
so
my
you
head.
flip and then negate, or some students prefer the phrase opposite reciprocal.
Mhm. I remember the flip and negate, so then I guess that would it just make it positive 1/1?
Yes. So the slope from E to A is +1.
Oh, and are you looking at it as like it moves to the moves up 1 and then to the right 1?
Yeah, but it's exactly what you just said. I mean, I'm just
Okay.
reducing it.
Just showing the like opposite kind of way
Yeah.
for it. All right, that makes more sense. for that. I think I got that more now than I did when you're first teaching it somehow.
Okay.
Um,
So the good news is you have a slope, because for a line, you generally need two things. You need a slope and a point.
mhm.
This line goes through A. Sorry, go ahead. Do you have a question?
Sorry, yeah. Would you write -1/1 as your final like answer for slope, or would you just write 1?
It's 1.
Okay. And then I would be doing that opposite reciprocal for every single time I do this type of problem, correct?
Well, for the altitude, yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I meant for altitude.
Yeah. So
Okay.
we're trying to write the equation of the line through A and E over here, and that's why we needed the slope.
Hmm.
We also need a point. The point is A, because it goes through A. You were asking like, well, do we know E? And it's like, nope, we don't know E, but we know A. That's good enough.
Hmm. Okay.
So y minus y1 equals slope x minus x1.
Y minus y1 equals mx minus x1.
So your slope we already have. Your x1 and y1 come from point A, which is 3, 4, y minus 4, x minus
3,
3,
and then
like
that'll
that.
be y minus 4 equals x minus 3, and then and that's it. Oh yeah, sorry, that's where you leave it as, right?
Yes, that's good enough. You learn the more you take math, the more you just leave it unless otherwise specified. Because you're just tired. You're like, oh my gosh, this is too much. And it is, it's too much.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it gets the point across for it.
all right, next one here. So this time we're looking for the perpendicular bisector of AC. Let me snip that in. Perpendicular bisector of AC. So here's AC on the graph, and it goes through G, but it's both perpendicular and it bisects. So the point here is that it doesn't go through, it's not going through B, it's just going through another point. This is,
Mhm.
sorry, I'm trying to draw this. I actually can't tell which side of that triangle it hits. I
Um,
guess it goes there.
yeah.
You know, the G is just another point, or H is just another point. But those are congruent down there. A to H and C to H, those are congruent, and it meets at 90-degree angles like that.
Hmm. And then boom, boom, boom. Um, the perpendicular bisector, and then that makes it even on both sides, or congruent on both sides.
Exactly. Yeah, congruent on both sides.
And then,
So this point
right, with
H
that
is
problem, perpendicular bisector, it can go down from any part of the triangle as long as it's evenly splitting the A
yeah,
to C in a congruent. All right.
yes, yes. Okay, so this is the hardest one. You need a slope and a point. The point is easier to find first. That point H is the median or the midpoint. Sorry, we'll use midpoint. It's the midpoint of AC.
Hmm.
So do you remember from part A how to find the midpoint?
Um, you have to do here, 1 second. I'm gonna try and remember it. So for the midpoint, you have to. Do you have to use your slope at all?
It's the x1 plus x2 over 2,
Right.
y1 plus y2 over 2. Oh,
Um,
do you get a note card for your exam or reference sheet?
Unfortunately, I do not think so.
Okay, well that's rough.
Yeah.
A lot to
I don't
remember.
know. I'm gonna make one and just shoot for it and be like, "Hey, can I use this?"
I actually like that strategy.
It's worth a shot.
Yeah,
Um, so with that. -5 and 2, 3, 4, 1, 4. Am I using for the x1 and x2 and stuff like that? Am I using the points A and C?
Yes,
That's
because
what's
that's what you're trying to find the midpoint of.
okay. And then that would be 3 plus 1 and 4 minus 4. And then that would be 2 and 0. And then
Yeah,
that's what it lies on.
good. So that's the point. We've got that. The slope of this BH line, or sorry, GH, the slope of GH, it's perpendicular to AC. So if you find the slope of CA or AC, but better to call it C to A, and you do the opposite reciprocal, you get the GH slope.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to find the slope from C to A. C to A.
Yeah. So then that would have to be let's see, 4 and -4. That's 8 for the rise. And
And the run.
then it would be 2 for the run.
Good. Now we want the perpendicular.
And is that where you flip and negate it?
Yes.
And then that would be -1, 4. Or 1
Very
over
good. Yeah. So now you've got the slope. You needed a slope and a point.
and then I'm using the y minus y1 equals m parentheses x plus x1.
Yes. Y minus Y1 equals slope. X minus X1.
And then can I use is there a preferable thing to use, like preferably A or C?
Neither. You're using either G or H.
G or
But
H?
which do you have?
G.
You do not have G. Maybe that's drawn poorly, but that's
Um,
why did we find the midpoint of AC?
so we can get the coordinates of H.
Yes.
And then with H, it's 2, 0. So then X and Y. So I guess you can say Y minus 0 equals -1,
Yes.
4. Yeah, you got that there. And then I just leave it like that once again.
That's it.
Um, so with um, so that proves the coordinates of H, and then the slope from A to C proves they're perpendicular bisector. Is there anything else that I'd even do with this problem after that?
No, that you're done. You're done. You're done. I would strongly urge you to look at one of our previous videos on this. I think we actually had a whole lesson on doing these.
Yeah.
You just need to remember the steps or coordinate the steps.
Mhm. Yeah, that was from like a month or 2 ago. I'll have to
Yes.
go to that.
Yeah. Um,
All right. And then
any
all
short
right.
questions? Did we get through all the definitions yesterday?
I think we got through a decent chunk of them, but I
Okay,
don't think we did all of them.
let's do, where did we leave off? Midpoint,
Um,
altitude? We just did altitude.
Let me check. Email. And then all inboxes. But wrong PDF. We got through an altitude of a triangle or midpoint.
Okay, so the altitude of a triangle,
Yeah,
I think I,
altitude.
yeah, I think I made a couple of those. The perpendicular bisector of the side of a triangle, so there's a couple of options. We just did it though. Sometimes it actually goes right through the other vertex.
Uh-huh.
That's kind of the
It's
exception.
not always that easy.
Yeah, that was not the, but the
Yeah,
more
like the
common one is
last
where,
problem we just did was one more like that, right?
exactly. Okay, so a regular quadrilateral, that's kind of a weird one. It's if all sides are congruent.
Mm-hmm. And then do they all have to be congruent to each other or just
Yeah, that's kind of weird. I don't think your instructor meant this.
yeah? Because like you could essentially just make like a square for that.
Well, they're all the same. Yeah, I mean they're all so regular is means all sides congruent, all angles congruent.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, maybe they did mean that. All sides and all angles congruent, that's a square. An equilateral quadrilateral, that's the rhombus because all the sides are congruent. An equiangular quadrilateral, that goes back to a square again.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the instructor meant this. I don't.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, we're out of time, Zach. I got to keep a tight schedule today. I
Yeah, of
apologize.
course.
But
No worries.
yeah, thanks for letting me help you. If I don't hear from you, I hope you have a great new year, and
Yeah, you too.
I'll be available next semester. Have a great night.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, thank you
Okay,
so much,
you're welcome.
Matthew.
Bye now.
Yeah.